back to the show.
Well, this is kind of cozy.
Yeah, I think so. What'd you do?
Bryant got lipstick on you. You're still blushing, too. You liked it, didn't you?
It's not bad. You know, take anything you can get.
I know.
You know, you and I have known one another a long, long time at this point, and I'm not saying that but it's true.
We go way back. Well,
do you know where we first met? Yeah.
I do. My husband, Alan Ludden, met you. You interviewed him in Indianapolis, and he was so impressed with you that when you came out to Los Angeles.
What was he doing in Indianapolis? I know what I was doing, but why was he there?
Going around doing, you know, publicity for passport. In those days, you had to go from city to city.
Right.
Now they bring the cities to you, which is wonderful. But they,
and I had a little nickel dime radio show, and he was nice enough to come by and we chatted.
And you really impressed him because then he was putting a pilot together, and when you came to Los Angeles, he asked you to be. The pilot didn't sell, but you sure did.
Is that right? I kind of remember that. Yeah, that's right.
And then there was a show called Liars Club where we all lied about the objects.
I loved that show because you could just make up anything you wanted.
I know, it's kind of like. I've spent 50 years doing that.
but that show was like never as big as I thought it ought to be. Of course, the same could be said for this show. But but here it is. Oh man, take a look at this. This is a good picture. This is, of course, there's the lovely Betty White right there. See, there's Betty White. I look like Buddy Hackett's son.
Yeah. But whatever you said must have been pretty bad for me to react like that.
Oh my God. Wow.
Oh, it was fun though.
But seriously, in that era, that was like the late 70s, everybody looked a little fruity.
Unlike now, of course.
So 50 years, is that true? What you started, of course, obviously when television was live, doing all. What did you do?
I started when television started. We were on 5.5 hours a day, 6 days a week, live.
Yeah. And what were you doing then? I mean,
about what you're doing now. Not as well.
No, it was more than this.
No, we didn't have, and we'd have guests that came through.
But what was the show?
It was the Hollywood on television, and mostly it was commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in those days, so I'm not kidding, it was like one long 5.5 hour infomercial 6 days a week.
And you would do, obviously you'd have to do these commercials live.
Live, because we couldn't put tapes in there. Tape wasn't invented yet.
Right.
And so one day, the most we ever did in one day was 58 commercials. Somebody would, we had a few people kick in their sets, but not too many.
What kind of stuff? I mean, who was buying time in those days?
Well, you had to ad-lib them. The sales department would come in and they'd hand you a sheet of paper and you didn't ever want to read them, so you'd try to remember. Well, I got real carried away. They do that in the middle of the show. I got real carried away at this one point that it was a wonderful idea. I thought a great product. It was something you attach to your kitchen sink and you put soap in there and then turn the water on and soapy water would come out. Sure. I had just looked at it very quickly, and you know how you blank on a word sometimes? Right. I could not come up with the word faucet. I tried, and soapy water comes out of your your gizmo. Well, I could have done better. But we had a cameraman.
I've been to the doctor for that, as a matter of fact.
No. We were on one camera, of course, and we had a cameraman one of those people who, when he laughs, water comes out of his eyes. Yeah. So I couldn't see his face. I would just see these drops of water from behind the camera. Well, of course, that's all it took, and we were gone. I think we were off. The strangest thing, though, about that, we never had to do that commercial again.
Went away.
It went away. We all had a wonderful time, but the sponsor didn't quite see it the way we saw it.
And you did a lot of game shows? Because in those, now it seems like game shows are back. They're really not back, because in those days you had them all day long in 2 or 3 networks.
Oh, all day everybody would sit there and watch, but you had to come up with the stuff out of your head. You just couldn't, and that's dangerous in itself.
Well, you were the Match Game?
Match Game, well, you remember Match Game with Gene Rayburn. The fun of Match Game was that you had these 6 celebrities, and they all had You know, you give 6 celebrities cards and marking pencils. I mean, that's like giving bananas to chimpanzees. You know?
Now there's a show.
Yeah, that believe me, some of my best friends. But they asked you, the way the show worked, it was cold blank. It could be cold shower, cold water, whatever. And then the end game was you had to come up with 3. They'd give you a word, and then you had to fill 3 of the terms. So they gave us the word willow.
Willow.
You want to try it?
Well, one thing is just kind of like flashing now in my mind.
But there has to be 3
Yeah, no,
things.
I can't get beyond that one thing.
In other words, you're thinking weeping willow.
No, that would no. That
No?
Would, all right, now I see that there could be 2.
Yes,
Now
yes.
I see that.
Okay. There's always tit willow.
See, Tit Willow didn't
Yeah,
come to me either.
No, that's it. So it was Willow. It was Willie, too. It was Willie, too. Oh, yeah.
So really, what the 3 choices would have been what?
Weeping, pussy, and tit. Yeah, but it was good. Yeah, it was perfect. Legitimate game, and it was. You tried that with the likes of Richard Dawson and Charles Nelson Riley and Brett Summers.
How'd you like to be on jury duty with me?
I love it.
Oh
I
my
can
God.
see that.
Talk some more about Alan Ludden. How long were you guys married?
We missed 18 years by 3 days.
Well, that's close enough.
Yeah, 18 years is very good. 18
How did
happy
you meet?
years. On Password.
Is that right?
I was a guest on Password, and we just... I had seen him on GE College Bowl for years,
Oh,
and he had
that's
seen
right.
me on
What
Life
a
of the...
great show that was.
Wasn't
College
that
Bowl.
great? He
Fantastic.
made up that game out in the backyard on a yellow...
Is that right?
Yep. Oh, he loved that.
Yeah, it was terrific.
And he'd work with the youngsters. That was his pride and joy.
Yeah.
But then at one point, GE College Bowl and Password one was 1/2 hour, and then on another network, the other was that way, and he had to make a choice between the 2, and that was a tough choice. So he picked the lucrative one, which was Password, and that was a good choice.
So, yeah,
Well, look at it this way: if he had stayed with GE College Bowl, I'd never have met him.
well, yeah, that's probably.
But I was too old for college. I was too old for most things.
And you'd never consider going out with a younger man, I guess.
No, I wouldn't, as a matter of fact.
So, did you guys start dating immediately?
No. But our agents booked us into summer stock on Cape Cod, and so he brought his wife had died, and he had these 3 great kids. So he brought the kids to Cape Cod, and I met there, and we did a show called Critics' Choice. And it was delightful. I was going very steadily with somebody at that point, with Phil Cochran, and who was
And Phil Cochran is.
Flip Corkin in the old Terry and the Pirates that was based on Phil Cochran, who was a war hero.
He was a fighter pilot, war hero.
Fighter pilot, yes. And so Phil came up to see the show, and at the end of the play, there was this lovely reconciliation scene and a tender kiss, and that was it. Well, Alan knew that Phil was in the audience, and he held that kiss, and he held that kiss, and and it was such a sweet moment that I couldn't very well pull away. It would change the whole ending of the show.
A whole different deal.
Yeah. So he kept holding the kiss, and finally, from the 3rd row, I heard, it was Phil, and afterwards, Phil said, "I don't like Alan Ludden."
Yeah.
I said, "Everybody likes Alan
Sure,
Ludden. He's
yeah.
one of those people everybody
That's right,
likes."
yeah.
He said, "I don't."
Yeah, he's a very nice man, very personable, and great on the Password show.
Yes, and real good kisser.
And what are you doing in New York? Just hanging around?
I just hanging around and talking about Ladies' Man. It's Sweeps Week, and we are having such a good time on that show. Alfred Molina and Sharon Lawrence are just delights to work with, as are the two girls, Shauna and Alexis.
You play the.
I play his mother, Alfred's mother, who's a little far out. She has her own agenda, you might say, and
you steal the show.
Oh yeah. Oh, yes, of course.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hands down.
It's true.
I'm not going to be able to go back with them again after this.
I want to tell you, they're lucky to have you, my dear. Absolutely.
I'm going to see Sharon on this trip. It's a very flying trip. I won't get to see her in Chicago. She's in the play Chicago. She's doing it now on Broadway, and I want to see it so bad, and I have to go home before I get a chance to see it.
And the show, your TV show, Ladies' Man, is on Mondays. What time?
Monday at 8:30 on CBS.
Here on CBS.
On CBS, which I have tattooed on my chest. We're almost.
Whoa! Nellie! Thank you for being here.
Thank you, darling.
The lovely Betty White. We'll be right back.